Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and the day has finally come. The Carnotaurus has been released as we've got the Jurassic World Legacy Collection Reimagined Demon Carnotaurus, aka the real feel Roarin Carnotaurus. And as you can see, it's our very first attempt at an actual demon type Carnotaurus from Mattel. Obviously, they've gone with nostalgia on this one because they've given us that classic Kenner style Carnotaurus with a Mattel obviously type sculpt, but we also have again that real feel skin just like we had on the original Demon Carnotaurus. You can see the packaging also looks really nice. I actually think the packaging is fantastic overall. We've got like a nice kind of volcano thing going on back there, the Reimagined logo over here, and the Jurassic World Legacy Collection logo over here on the side. So pretty cool how it's just like a combination of both. And then if we turn it around and we take a look at the back, you can see the Carnotaurus here in all of its glory, and you can also see that Atrociraptor set, which I also have to review right there. So let's pop this out of the box and check it out. So here is our Carnotaurus, and I thought it was going to fall for a second there. But man, is that thing ever beautiful. Once I see this one in store, I'm absolutely going to be buying another one of these to keep in package because it just looks so nice in the package. But out of the package, it has got to be one of the nicest Carnotaurus to come from Mattel overall. And of course, the fact that it has that classic Kenner look and feel definitely helps to add more of the appeal to the figure, but it just looks so beautiful here. But the only way to truly tell how beautiful is with a closer look, so let's jump to it right now. So starting up here in the head sculpt of the Carnotaurus, you can instantly just see how nice this figure is. This is easily going to be one of my favorite Mattel figures that they've released so far. Again, maybe I'm a little biased because it's a Carnotaurus, I don't know, but I absolutely adore what I'm seeing so far. We can see the skin texture and everything looks really quite nice. It's pretty vibrant overall, especially considering, again, it's that rubber real feel. It's not your traditional Mattel material used. We've got a black for the primary body color, and then we've got some really nice reddish tones that lead down from the upper part of the snout down into like the palate and everything, and that looks really nice. You've also got the eyes sculpted out. Obviously, we can see all of the teeth sculpted pretty nicely and all painted with a nice light yellowish tone or like an off-white. We've got the mouth sculpted in an open position, which you can see again the pinkish tones of the inside of the mouth on both the lower and upper sides in there, and you can see the tongue is also nicely textured in there, which is a plus. We can see the teeth on the lower jaw as well, and everything has a nice kind of gloss coat, nice satin shine in there. Obviously, we can kind of articulate the jaw ourselves because it is that rubber real feel, so that's definitely fun on top of everything. As you lead up, you can see the eyes are painted with a green, and they do have a nice black pupil right there. And then you can see the horns as well, sculpted really quite nicely, all again given that nice black tone. As you lead down into the neck of the Carnotaurus, you can see the reds basically overtaking the back, and you can also see how they kind of stripe down and also kind of separate and pattern out as you lead down through the course of the Carnotaurus, in my opinion, perfectly recreating that classic Demon Carnotaurus look and feel. As you continue leading down, we still have that rubber real feel to the figure, which is really cool. And as you can see, again, it is super flexible, obviously allowing you the ability to turn the head and neck of the Carnotaurus pretty much any way you want, which is really fun. We also pick up the light gray color here on the underside, which you can see start in the throat, but unfortunately it disappears very quickly as you lead down into the chest, which is unfortunate. But as you continue to lead along, you see ridges moving along the back of the Carnotaurus, some more of those classic osteoderms and stuff moving along as well. As you lead down here into the arms, even the arms have that soft rubbery real feel to them, which is really cool. You also have articulation in the arms, so you can move those pretty much wherever you want, and even out away from the body, which you can see if you want to give it that sort of adorable display that you see in Prehistoric Planet. You can do that with this Carnotaurus, which is really, really neat. But as you continue to move into the stomach, you see the detail looks really good. You've got some like skin wrinkles and folds and stuff down there. Very impressive looking skin texture in general moving throughout the course of the Carnotaurus. As we lead back, you can see the ridges get a little bit bigger up there in the hip region. I will say the reddish tone is kind of a little bit too intense as far as the application of it goes. Like, it doesn't look natural, but at the same time, it's kind of meant to represent that classic toy, again, the Demon Carnotaurus from Kenner. Even though it looks a little bit intense, and I'm not a huge fan of the kind of satin shine, it is what it is. It still looks pretty good. As you move down into the thigh, you can see the muscle definition looks really nice. We also have more of that patterning, that red patterning moving down into the thigh. And again, the skin texture also looks really good. You have the ability to articulate the legs, of course, forward and back. They don't come out away from the body, but just forward and back. We also have the fax app code here, if I could pull it out. So there we go. You can see the fax app code is huge, but I love the fact that once you open this, you can kind of see like the muscle inside the leg. So even though Mattel did a good job of kind of trying to conceal this, I would have actually preferred it were on the other side, just because I feel like this is kind of the more dominant side, but not really. But I love the fact that even though, you know, it's kind of hidden, once you pop it open, it's almost like dino damage where you can see the muscle and everything. And if you were good enough, you could probably just scope that little section out, cover up the scan code, and maybe put more muscle in there and paint it. But you can see, again, basically like a little door on the side of the thigh. As you lead down, you can see the knee right there. You can also see a nice big bulging calf muscle. Leading down even further, you can see that the foot sculpt looks really nice. And I feel like the foot sculpt looks a good bit more proportionate to the body compared to the way that you often see the feet on Mattel figures looking. We can also see the nails are painted with a light tone, which is a massive plus for this figure. And you can see, unfortunately though, the dew claw, although present, doesn't actually have any paintwork to it. But the nails also have a little bit of a satin shine, which is nice. And there is articulation in the ankles. You can swivel the ankles as per usual with most Mattel figures. You've got some nice scoots moving down the toes. Some really quite nice looking scale detail down there in the toes as well. And then you lead up into the tail. Actually, before we go into the tail, one thing to note is that the legs are not the rubber reel feels. So that's the only area I think that I've really noticed that actually isn't kind of a soft squishy feel, because as you move into the tail continues to have that going on. As you can see, it's really quite bendable and flexible, and you of course have that through the course of the body as well. But as you lead up into the tail, you do actually still see that red patterning moving out into the tail, which is a huge plus. It does start to disappear about halfway through the tail, and then you're left with basically just the black for the tail, but it still looks really good, and you can see a nice curve to the tail as you lead along. Once you take a look at it from the opposing side, of course it's going to look pretty much the same. There's not really any kind of like a drastic difference from one side to the other, outside of the fact that the one leg is kind of leading as opposed to trailing on the other side. And we also don't have the scan code over here, but it all looks absolutely awesome. This Carnotaurus is, in my opinion, a dream come true figure from Mattel. As far as the sound goes, I believe there's a button. I don't know if it's on the top of the back or the hip, but we'll just start pressing and see where it is. Okay, so it's on the top of the hips right here. Definitely some really fun noises, and there are actually quite a few noises included with the figure. But as far as a size goes, it's pretty close to your standard Carnotaurus Mattel size, but for a length you are looking at right around, I'd say about 15 3/4 inches, or about 40 centimeters, and then for a height about just a hair over 7 inches, or almost 18 centimeters on the dot. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day Human Being next to our Demon Carnotaurus from Mattel. And you can see, again, just as I was saying, it's pretty much the same size as your standard Carnotaurus from Mattel. And for further proof of that, here is the original Carnotaurus release, the very first Fallen Kingdom version. I repainted this one, obviously, but you can see, again, sculpt-wise, they are very close to the same size, with the Demon Carnotaurus being only slightly larger. And I don't think we need too many comparisons with other Carnotaurus figures, but you can see the Hammond Collection version of the Carnotaurus next to the Demon Carnotaurus. You know, again, pretty similar in size, with the Hammond Collection version being just a tad bigger than the Demon. So it seems like as you go, they kind of increase in size, but obviously, again, very close in size. And of course, this review would not be complete without the inclusion of the original Demon Carnotaurus from Kenner next to the Mattel version. And you can see, again, they look incredibly cool next to each other. like long lost cousins or something like that. Though the original Demon Carnotaurus is a bit goofy looking, it definitely fit the style of dinosaur for back then. Obviously, the new Mattel version is a whole lot closer to what an actual Carnotaurus would look like, but you can still see, again, they both look awesome next to each other. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World Legacy Collection Reimagined Roarin Real Feel Carnotaurus is absolutely fantastic, and what a name this one has. That was a whole lot to spit out. But Mattel absolutely knocked this out of the park. Everything about this is amazing. The sculpt is gorgeous as per usual. They always do a great job on the Carnotaurus figures. I don't think they've had a single Carnotaurus the entire time that was anything less than fantastic in my opinion. Again, maybe I'm a little biased just because I love Carnotaurus so much, so of course almost anything that's Carnotaurus related is going to be a-okay by me, but I feel like they always do a great job on these figures, and again, this Carnotaurus specifically has got to be one of my favorites overall, not just because of the awesome real feel aspect and of course the Demon Carnotaurus look, but just generally because it is a really nicely sculpted figure, gorgeous fine detail throughout, and again, far and away one of the most appealing Carnotaurus from Mattel so far. Of course, you tackle on to the fact that you have Demon Carnotaurus paint apps for this, and man, what a showstopper this figure is. The sculpt, of course, is great, but those paint apps, the red and black, just look so nice. They play off of each other so perfectly and are about as nostalgic as it gets. If you are a fan of, again, the classic Kenner line, this is an absolute must-have. On top of that, you've got some pretty fun articulation. You also have the real feel aspect to the figure, which is, of course, a huge selling point. I love real feel figures, and this one has a perfect real feel to it, and it's got sound effects as well, which are really fun. So definitely one of the coolest figures to come into this line so far. Of course, as far as the Reimagined line goes, we're fairly early on into that, but basically that is the 93 Classic line and Legacy Collection combined, and when it comes to both of those lines, this is definitely one of the best figures they've produced so far. So if you are interested in purchasing this, it actually doesn't even release technically until tomorrow is the official store date, so you should start seeing it in stores tomorrow. I was just able to pre-order this and it, showed up a little early. So again, check your Targets tomorrow, or check, of course, Target's website, because once it actually goes up for sale, it should be available, and again, it should be on the website tomorrow. So do all that, make sure you pick this up, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.